feeling of what I imagine the final to be. So I'm going to do the voices, I'm going to do sound effects, I'm going to do the timing, because the editor is also in the room too. And they want to see, like, okay, how fast are you going through that? Did you hold there before you went into the next thing? So you can kind of get an idea of what the final could possibly look like. So I think all of you have seen the short, right? Okay, great. This is the ending. I don't want to like blow it away, and it's kind of a little bit of a complicated short with the door technology. So I'm glad you guys kind of know what's going on. But basically, the way this kind of works, before I jump in here, is there's like I can draw on the screen here. Basically, I can go into Photoshop and I can do some more drawing. But they're usually pretty rough and pretty sketchy, and you can kind of see from this first panel here. So I'm going to start near the end. This is after the M.U.S.E Kappas have taken all of the other people from the other party from the Roar house. So this is kind of right after everyone's over there at their house. So I'm just going to jump in and start pitching. I'm going to go full screen on it. Okay, so we're on the exterior of the M.U.S.E Kappa house, and we see all these students partying like, yeah, woo! This is the best party ever! Hold on. You know, the hard thing about digital stuff is that sometimes it lags. Hold on. Come on, work. There we go. So everyone's like, yeah, woo, this is the best party ever! Go Squishy, go Squishy, go Squishy, go Squishy. Scott Sebastian Squibbles. What is going on here? Mom, it's not what it looks like. Is that a door station? Are you boys door jamming? No, we were just... He stopped for a second. What's door jamming? And we cut to the lawn, and we see two doors like laid on the ground, and we hear the crowd chanting, Sherry, 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 Sherry. And we see up on the roof, we see Mrs. Scribbles come up, yeah! Mom, I'm not so sure this is a good idea. And we see her with a scream can. She like releases the scream out of it. It slides around. Boom! Hits this pile of wood, and a huge bonfire explodes. Everyone yells, yeah! And we cut into the parents' bedroom, and we hear a very soft, muffled, and Mom wakes up. Okay, that's it. There definitely is something in there. All right, fine. You want me to check? I'll check. And he gets up out of bed. We see Mrs. Squills, yeah! She grabs a skateboard and like rides down the roof. How many times do I have to tell you? Yeah! Bink! She flies off the roof. There's nothing in our closet. And he goes and opens it up. And then we see this bonfire and all these hellish monsters. Yeah! Woo! And then she heads towards camera, into the door, and then she's like slow motion, goes through the door, out the other door, and boop, lands, and then sticks this perfect Olympic pose. And everybody, yeah! Goes nuts, and they all run up, and we see the M.U.S.E Kappa gang, and they're like, oh my God! And they all run up. And they're all high-fiving her. Yeah, Mom, that was awesome. Who's pledging M.U.S.E Kappa? And we cut wide. We see everybody go, yeah, going nuts and cheering. And then we whip pan over to the title frame, which is a Party Central cross-stitch, like on the wall, and it's like thumping because the music is like going. And then that's the end of the short. Typically you applaud at the end of the pitch. So that's kind of how it begins. You know, a lot of these you can see, they're really rough drawings, but you got the idea of it. I didn't need to overwork any of these drawings. Like, I mean, some of these are super rough, like right here at the end. You just get the movement and the feeling of it. But it's clear. You know, a lot of times, you know, we're doing a lot of drawings and we're not sure what's going to work or not, so we don't overwork anything until we know it's going to make it into the short. So yeah, that's how it begins. This was actually the title card. So this is the first kind of step. You do these kind of sketches, and then you hand them down to all the different departments. And what's so great about Pixar is everybody blesses your work as it goes along. Like, for instance, this title card started like this, and then it ends up like that. So that's basically kind of like the blueprint for what we want. This is kind of the vibe for what we want for this thing. And then we start hiring designers, and people kind of plus it, and they light it, and then it looks beautiful, and then you get the kind of final short. So, yeah, that's kind of like my behind-the-scenes kind of pitch to it. That's exactly the way we do it at Pixar when we pitch this stuff. Yeah,
we'll open it up for a Q&A.
How big was the team, and how long did it take to make?
The team, let's see, it kind of shrunk and grew. What was really cool about it, I felt like a lot of the people that worked on the short worked on the movie. It was a really smooth transition. It was right near the end of MU, so people, like the animation crew, they flowed from the movie right onto the short. So they were ready to go. They pretty much just like, went right through it. And it was like that through every department, if it was lighting or if it was animation or if it was layout. And it was really, for me personally, it felt like everybody who was kind of second in command on the movie got to get their chance supervising on the short. It was really, really great. Yeah.
For this short, was it a faster transition to release it, to make it, than the normal shorts that usually come out by Pixar?
Yeah, it's a good question. We actually we did this right at the end of finishing up MU, and because we just knew there was a window of opportunity. We're like, oh, everyone's going to be available then. They can do this and then move on to the next kind of feature that we're doing. We thought this is a perfect thing that we can kind of hit. So we weren't quite sure where the short was going to go. So this short's actually been done for a while. We were just trying to find the right spot for it to go onto. And we're just so excited for it to be attached to the Muppets. Like, it was fantastic. It was just like a match made in heaven. Monsters and Muppets just feels like it just belongs together. Yeah.
So when you have these pitch meetings at Pixar, I mean, are they relatively, well, of course they're long, I'm sure, but are they really constructive? I mean, do you guys just really are forthcoming and honest on how you feel about certain things?
Yeah, that's exactly. Usually they're an hour long, and typically you typically do it just a scene, on a feature. This we could actually do the whole short because it's 5 minutes, which in essence is like a sequence. Yeah. It's typically how long a sequence is. Everybody's in there, and I'll just pitch like I did, and then we talk about it. We talk about what worked, what didn't work, what could we change, to make it better. That's why we're all in there, is to try to make it as best as it can be. And so we'll get notes, and then we'll go off and do it again. Yeah, in the back.
Are there more full-length monster movies coming?
I don't know. To be honest, it always starts with like a really good idea. That's what I love about Pixar, is they don't just jump in just to do it. There's always like a seed of an idea, and if they like that seed, then we'll do something. Currently, I don't think there's that I know of any seeds that are out there, but who knows? Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
How typically hands-on are Lasseter and the other studio heads, and especially now that he's also running the feature animation, do you have to split his time, and how much attention does he give to project?
John loves Pixar. He loves making movies. He loves making shorts. The best advice that I got from the beginning was from Dan and Corey, the director and producer of MU. And they said, involve John as much as possible. And we did. And we did it early on. And really, what I love about Pixar is how it's a collaboration of everyone's work. As I pitch this stuff, I know where it all came from. I know who pitched certain ideas. And it's not just all me. That's what I love about what we do. It's a collection of everyone's great ideas, including John. If John, this short wouldn't be what it is without John. So he was heavily involved, especially in the beginning. And then we would show him along the way, show him like the layout cut and show him the rough animation. And he would give us his comments on it. And John was nothing but supportive with this short. Yeah, in the back.
The door gags were amazing. And I was wondering, did the video game Portal have any influence?
Yeah, we kind of joked around about that. Yeah. We started with the idea because we thought one of my favorite sequences in the original film was the door vault sequence where they can go in and out. That was so cool to have that technology in the hands of frat boys. And what would they do with it, That's really where it kind of came from. We had so many really fun ideas. A lot of it didn't go into the short. Well, we joked around like, oh, it's kind of like Portal, I really wanted to have a gag where you have the two doors next to each other, and you could literally have tug of rope, with the people right next to you as you're like pulling, and they're right next to you, pulling back and forth. That the doors are like right there. It was really fun to think in that realm. You know what I mean? It was. So yeah, we definitely thought Portal was something we definitely brought up, because you could have a door here. See, I'm just excited about the possibilities. There's so much more you can do. You could throw something at somebody, and boom, you could hit them as you're right next to them. Yeah.
With all the work that goes into the templates and the characters and everything, I mean, it almost seems a shame that nothing else is ever done with it. Do you feel inclined or motivated to get more out of Monster University?
I do. I would love to. Yeah, I'd love, again, like, it's just like where this short came from. It came from like the passion of these characters and came from, you know, the possibilities that were untapped. There's so much more we could do. So I say, I don't know if there are any plans, but, you know, I would love to be asked again to do something with these characters.
A lot of man hours to have these things all sort of ready, computer-wise, to go or to be adjusted or rewritten.
Yeah, I mean, this production was so smooth, I'll be honest. It was hard work, for sure, but everybody who came on it was just a pro. It was a really easy transition. We were able to, like, I mean, even with the voice cast, we picked up Billy, Crystal. We had a couple, like, last lines for the movie, and we went and got those lines, and then we just recorded the short right after it. So there was kind of this perfect transition into making the short. Yeah.
Were there any discussions of having the characters wear togas like Animal House?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm going to show you something right here.
Oh, really?
You know what's hard about that? I'll be honest. It's hard to, that's sim work. It's hard to do cloth. And we didn't really have much of it. If there was togas in the movie, we probably could have done it for the short because they would have figured it out. That would have been really expensive. But you can see in this gag here, I'm going to jump back to this one drawing. You can see right there on the left, there's a monster wearing a toga. And you choose your battles when you make this stuff. You know, you're like, well, it's really hard to do, like this is a really hard short to do because it's not just two characters in a room. This is the entire cast. And, well, I mean, a party just filled with monsters. That's expensive. It's hard to animate. Every single one of the characters has to be animated by hand. So you pick your battles. You're like, okay, do you want a lot of characters in the M.U.S.E house, or do you want a toga? You're like, well, I'll take a lot of the characters in the house, because that's more important for the story. This is just a supporting element. If it was a really, like, key element, like the toga was a story element, then we would have pushed for it. But we did it here for this drawing. In fact, this drawing is pretty cool because it stuff always kind of comes back. And this particular gag was a gag that we had early on for Monsters University for the film, for a scene that we ended up cutting. But we always liked this gag. This is a gag that was done in 2009. This drawing here, I kind of changed it for the short, but like this character here was drawn like in 2009. And we thought, oh my gosh, we could bring that gag back for the short. That'd be great. Where are those drawings? You know, you go back and try to find the old drawings, and I kind of incorporated and changed them a little bit. But yeah, and then even the toga banner, you know. But yeah, again, togas are expensive.
I probably have time for one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking to that, are you able to kind of cut costs to get the characters into another short film like this, or do you have to start from scratch?
Yeah, actually, it's a good question. Like I remember we took a lot from the movie, as much as we could. There was the whole scene in the Roar house where they went to the party, and I'm like, can we just literally, drag and drop the kind of cycles that the animators have already made? So we actually were able to do that, like copy it, and then kind of do a couple hero things. Because sometimes they repeat those cycles and they're kind of noticeable, so an animator has to go in there and make it so it's not just repeating, but there's a little bit more like action that's a little different, because you can kind of, when they're way off the distance, you don't care, you don't notice, you're looking at the main action, so you can kind of just have somebody cycling, but so we had to do little tweaks like that, but we really tried, and lighting too, it's expensive to kind of light the environment, so we're like, oh, just do what you did in the movie for the Roar house, then we would have to do a lot of specific one-offs, because they never had the party in the M.U.S.E house, so that had to be lit for the first time, which was super fun. I'm really proud of the lighting in the short. And just how far we went with the short, I'm super proud of I don't know, just how silly and over the top it was. I felt like, oh, cool, thanks, you guys. Yeah, I always felt like this was a short that we could go, like we would go to 11, and we're like, oh my gosh, we could go further than 11. I thought 1 over 10 would be high enough, but we'd go to 100 on this short. It was really, really fun. Yeah.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Cool. Oh, and you guys too, before you leave, we have a little gift for you guys. When I was working on the short, we had the last title card. As you can see right over there, my wife is a cross stitcher. And I'm really touched by that. I'm like, my wife Julie, I'm like, Julie, you think we actually could make that by hand? She's like, yeah, I think I could do it. So we figured out the pattern. I had to change it a little bit, and I made this is actually a real cross stitch, and my wife was doing it, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Is it easy to do? She's like, yeah. So she actually taught me how to cross stitch. So the two of us cross stitch. I made these for gifts for John Lasseter and for Dan Scanlon to show them thanks for getting this opportunity. So I thought it'd be really fun for you guys to cross stitch yourselves. So we have little kits for you guys.
Oh my God! Thank you. That is pretty awesome.